Hello everybody, hope y'all are doing well. Let's try this again. This is the QSP Gannet, I believe you pronounce it. This guy's pretty interesting. You can see it's a front flipper, and that's its only deployment method. This particular one is in black micarta, and then G10 with red accents on there. It's fairly subtle, but that's perfectly fine with me. You got your deep carry pocket clip there. Proud screws, which aren't my favorite, but hey, that's what happens with just about everybody. You got a G10 backspacer going on here. And yeah, front flip action is quite nice. And it's a little subtle, so you don't really worry about that thing smashing into your finger, which a lot of the first implementations of front flippers kind of did. The blade's pretty interesting in that it's, I think they refer to it as a hand-rubbed finish, but it's basically the satin is going parallel rather than perpendicular to the blade. So it gives it a little different visual flair to it. And I like that quite a bit. This guy is in 154 cm steel, which haven't seen in a while. Actually happy to see it. It was Benchmade steel of choice for a very, very long time until they kind of moved almost everything over to S30V, probably because Spyderco was also heavily using S30V at the time. And yeah, it was built from Crucible and Chris Reeve kind of collaboration sort of thing there. So yeah, it was becoming really, really popular. I hope that this thing is heat treated well. I haven't really had enough time to do a whole bunch of cutting with it, but yeah, that full flat grind is nice and slicey. You don't have incredibly thick blade stock. Speaking of, I suppose I could probably find out what it is. Yeah, it's basically 3mm blade stock, so nice and slicey. Now it's riding on ceramic bearings that are in brass cages. And I won't be able to do a full teardown on this guy, and I'll show you why in just a few here. But yes, that's basically what's going on here. The ergonomics on this guy are quite nice. Now it's got just a little bit of a lip there, which my pinky perfectly fits into. I wouldn't mind having more jumping up here where my thumb actually feels like it wants to be. But it's got some back here, and that's perfectly fine. It's also good and hugs the back of your hand for a pinch grip if, you're like me and you like to at least start cuts that way. So, yeah, I do like the ergonomics quite a bit. The fit and finish, at least here on the outside, quite nice. So yeah, I will pop a couple of these things open, and we can kind of take a look at some stuff. You do need to remove the pocket clip because this top screw actually goes through a... well, for one, you need to remove that to fully remove the scale, but yeah. Yeah. Alright, there's the handle scale screw, which yes, you do need to take off. It does have a D-shaped pivot, which, designed to specifically go in one orientation. We got T8 for the pivot and T6 for everything else. And it's just fairly common in the industry still, which is a little unfortunate, but yeah. So yeah, here's the scale, and yep, just like the Tucson TS50, it's basically held together in a dovetail joint, which works pretty darn good. And yeah, here on the inside, you can see some things. First of all, they do have access to flat screws. So why are we still getting the button tops for the pocket clips? No, well, conversation for another day. So this little gunk that you see in a couple of areas is actually just little dabs of adhesive that they use to hold these in place before they got the screws in there. And you can see that part of it's soaked in, at least on the micarta side there. And that's what happens. That's micarta. So, yeah, essentially, you have these three flat screws that go through to the other side, um, in which they basically, they're barrels that go through there. The problem that I've run into, for one, these screws are actually kind of soft. Especially this one, you can see. It's even been rounded out just a little tiny bit for me opening it the first time. And you can also see there's quite a few blemishes and whatnot on this, on the inside. You know, it's interesting to have the satin grain at kind of a strange angle there, but you can also see plenty of areas in which they've compensated and fixed up some little areas. So not super pretty on the inside, which doesn't really matter all that much. But yeah, you can probably see. No? Well, how about we add a little flashlight to the situation? There you go. So you got a couple of holes for skeletonization on that side. And then the single one here that goes all the way through there. I am having a problem now of I've put these back in with Loctite, and now they like to free spin because they're nice and snugged up with Loctite. That's why I'm not gonna take them apart. I don't really want to go through the trouble of taking a hairdryer to it and everything. But yeah, it does have basically the ceramic balls, ceramic ball bearings, and those standard brass cages rather than nylon. Like I've said in the past, I don't really think that translates either way into better or worse action. It's just a different way to house those bearings. I will say also that pivot came with some Loctite on there, and then when I put them back together, I put a little bit more on there. So it's got some Loctite. T6 for everything else. This guy is quite an interesting knife. I do like it quite a bit. This was kind of the reason why I made this recent purchase from Blade HQ when I saw them available. I did pick up a few other QSP models as well that were kind of catching my eye, and I will take a look at them separately. But yeah, flipping action on this guy is quite nice. You don't really have to worry about this smacking into your finger and preventing the knife from opening all the way that some front flippers can suffer from when they're designed specifically to, open kind of that way. But yeah, no lock stick whatsoever. We got 35, 40, yeah, around 40%, 45 maybe. So yeah, good, nice, solid lock up there. Yeah, I like this guy quite a bit. The ergonomics, like I was saying earlier, I believe, quite nice. You got a little lip going on here, so yeah, you can grip it quite nice. I do kind of wish that they had a little bit more jimping going up that way, because that's where my thumb wants to land. But they have it back there, and it does a pretty darn good job. Yeah, I did talk about that earlier, because I talked about the fact that the pinch grip was also nice for it. So yeah, I'm repeating myself. Sorry about that. Yeah, it happens sometimes. But yeah, it's got these little milling things here going on both sides, which are nice for ergonomics. You can see they're not exactly the prettiest of joins there. You can feel just a bit of a lip going on to the carbon fiber. So it's not, absolutely immaculate. But you don't feel that unless you're rubbing on it pretty hard with your thumb. Like, as far as actual use, it's quite nice. So there you go with that. Check the blade stock on it. Yep, we got 3 millimeters for that. Let's see, kind of, yeah, it's around like 5.2, or just a little over half an inch. So fairly thin, but still, it's contoured, so that does add a little bit of thickness going on there, which is perfectly fine with me. But yeah, it sits rather nice and flat in your pocket, so that's pretty darn cool. The pocket clip, well, it does angle up quite a bit there at the end. Doesn't actually bother me, because that little spoon area doesn't hit somewhere that would cause me to have a complaining amount of a hot spot, which is great. I do like that quite a bit. I am a little bit more of a fan of Spyderco standard spoon clip that kind of comes back down and is just a little bit wider, but this guy works out quite well as well. So there you are with that. And let's see. I might as well check how heavy this guy is. It's not the lightest thing in the world, as you can see by the reserved amount of skeletonization. But yeah, we got like... Let me move that down just a little bit. There we go. So yeah, 3.45, 3.46 ounces, or 98 grams. And that's not bad for the blade length on this guy, which isn't super paltry. It's, yeah, right around 3 1/4, maybe 3 1/3, technically, because there is a little bit of extra area there. So I would probably classify that as 3.3 inches. Maybe not the absolute largest knife I've ever reviewed on the channel, but at least the handle actually fits me quite nicely. So that's grand. Yeah, I do plan on using this guy quite a bit. Getting some cutting time in there, and kind of refamiliarizing myself with 154 CM. I have had in the past an old Benchmade Griptilian in 154 CM, so I'm at least familiar with how the steel works, at least from Benchmade. So hopefully I'll get kind of similar performance going out of this guy. But yeah, that's about everything that I really can think of to mention about this here guy. Sorry if we got some noises going on here. We got some single-digit weather going on, so it's a little cold. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe my noise reduction and other audio processing will take care of it. I don't know. I suppose you guys be the judge of that. But yeah, that's it. This is the QSP Gannet. This guy wasn't incredibly cheap. I think it was like $82, and I think a little bit of that is probably down to the steel choice that they went for 154 cm, because it's about the only knife that I've seen from them in that steel. And because that steel comes from Crucible, means that we make it here in the States, and then we got to ship it over. And if it's kind of their one of their first shipments, then they have to have that upfront investment in trying to get that and whatnot. So there's a little bit of extra cost going on there. And yeah, and it's not S35 VN, which is what a lot of other Chinese manufacturers are importing from Crucible. So, yeah, like it quite a bit. Just like you. I like all of you. Especially if you, do all that YouTube-y stuff. Subscribing, liking, all sorts of whatever. No pressure, obviously. But, yeah, if you do like kind of what I'm doing, or at least even the selection of knives that I'm taking a look at that catch my eye, then yeah, if you want to give me a like, that'd be cool. But as always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.